Hello, I'm Gord Gray. I am a congregant here at Orleans United Church, and about 2 months ago I was involved in a service involving a skit related to caregivers as part of the Healthy End of Life project.
And my name is Ann Gallant, and I am a community facilitator with the Healthy End of Life project. I work out of one of our sister sites, the Southeast Ottawa Community Health Centre, and we're here at the Orleans United Church to talk about the recent HELP service that was put on here at OUC. So thank you for joining us today, Gord.
My pleasure.
So before the HELP service at Orleans United Church, you weren't aware or weren't really involved in the Healthy End of Life project.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And I'm wondering, what did you know about HELP?
Not a lot. I expected that it would involve dealing with people that are dying, actively dying.
Yeah.
I had no concept that it involved help to caregivers and pre and post passing. I was a neophyte.
And I guess one of the things that we're looking to do too is normalize these conversations about caregiving and asking for and accepting and offering help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And dealing with the reality of death.
Exactly. And so what made you want to become involved in the role play for the HELP service?
Well, I lost my first wife to breast cancer about 17 and a half years ago. And as I was going through the period where she was ill and ultimately passing away, I knew I did a lot of things badly. A lot of things could have been so much easier, but I was trying to be tough, trying to be strong, and it was difficult. And if we could convey to people that it's okay to ask for help, there's services out there, that would be a good thing. So that's why I took part. Sorry, and while I was going through that, I had individuals, not organizations, but individuals who were amazing to me, amazingly helpful, and couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah. And so when you say that you did things badly or you did things wrong when your first wife was dying of cancer, I guess you're speaking to feeling that you needed to carry that burden of caregiver.
Absolutely.
And caregiving on your shoulders on your own.
I was the husband. It was my job to protect her. It was my job to do everything. And you can only do so much, especially when you have 2 children, you've got a job, and you've got someone who deserves the best care possible.
And so this role play that you did for the HELP service, it really, can you speak a little bit about what the role play was and what your role in the role play was?
My cover story was that I was a single parent working with 2 teenage children, with 2 parents who were approaching the final stages, both with dementia. And I had to look after them both. I had family out of town, but they weren't able to be of any help immediately. So it was up to me. And that was pretty close to what I went through. But we just, I don't want to say winged it, but put together a story that mimicked, I guess, what I had gone through and what people had gone through who I've spoken to since, who have lost wives, parents, children.
So you really pulled from your own experience as a caregiver and from other stories that you've heard of people who have been in that caregiver role. And one thing that really came across in that role play was that feeling of guilt or strong hesitancy not feeling comfortable accepting help, feeling like you really needed to do it all on your own.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I went through, and just about everyone I've spoken to goes through the same thing. It's your responsibility. You need to do it. Well, you don't need to do it all. It's your responsibility to see that things get done and get done in the best possible manner. But that doesn't mean you have to do it all.
Yeah.
And to allow others in to assist is not an act of weakness.
And so there was that message that you were trying to convey.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that was the strongest message.
Yeah. And so how did you feel after doing that role play in the service?
Drained.
Okay.
It was emotional because I put myself back 17 years.
Yeah.
But I thought we did okay. I hoped we did okay. Feedback since then has suggested we did do okay. It did resonate with some. Hopefully more people will see it and it will resonate with them or for them as well. I felt good. Actually, I felt very good.
Yeah. And I know, there were many people who were able to come to the service, and then it was recorded and posted on your YouTube channel for others to watch. And that's actually how I was able to watch the service. And it really did resonate with me as well. So hopefully it will, speak to a number of other people. And so I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit more about some of the feedback that you received about that service and the role play.
Well, the most heartwarming one, I guess, was about 2 weeks later, a lady who had lost her husband about a month prior to cancer saw me in church, in the church hall, and just out of the blue said, Gord, you guys nailed it. And that was me. That's what I went through. And she wished that she had known that there are services out there, that there are people willing to help, like anxious to help. You just have to reach out, say, could you give me some assistance, and accept that, accept that help without guilt. You can only do so much. Nobody can do it all.
And what you said, she wishes she had known. Nobody is born into the caregiver role, or nobody is given training or classes into how to be an informal caregiver. And so knowing that this help is available and knowing what services and how to reach out to them can be so overwhelming and such a challenging part of being a caregiver.
Absolutely.
And
I don't think there were too many people in the congregation that had ever heard of the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre before that service. And hopefully they all have the pamphlet now, they all have the phone number, or those that require it.
Yeah.
And we'll use it.
And it was so special that you were able to develop that collaboration with the center, because they do support all of the people in your catchment, in your community. And as a not-for-profit, it must be really hard for them to advertise their services. So to be able to develop that partnership with them is really important.
Can I get this plug in? Chantel was brilliant. Brilliant.
She was great. That was she did a great job.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, I'm not sure if we're repeating ourselves here, but I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit about the message that that the HELP service was trying to get across by having that service on that Sunday.
I think the message was, within this faith community, there are people that are available and want to be of assistance, and that exterior to this community, like the Eastern Ottawa Resource Centre, there are services out there that can make things easier. And just reach out. Just reach out. Easy to say, difficult to do. Absolutely. Very difficult to do.
Absolutely.
But hopefully that got across.
Yeah. And so do you feel, Gord, that other congregations, other communities would benefit from having a certain or a similar type of service?
No question.
Yeah.
No question whatsoever. There isn't a community, faith group, any kind of group out there that doesn't have caregivers who are doing their best. They're tired. They're just about at wit's end, and they can be helped. So yes, I think every group should have one, or a service like that, or a program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we missed this time around, Gord, that you would like to say?
I can't think of anything. You mentioned informal caregivers.
Yes.
That was I
Okay.
caught that right away. I'm about as informal as you get. I have absolutely no training. I admit freely, I don't know what I'm doing, but I try and be there, and
Yeah.
I try and be helpful.
Yeah.
And we've got a large number of people within this congregation, same as me, who try and reach out, and it's kind of nice to be part of that.
Yeah.
Nice in the sense that you feel you're being useful,
Yeah.
and nice in the sense that the time may very well come where I require that. And I feel very comfortable now asking.
And being part of that group of, or whatever your community looks like, that group of people, just people in your community who are willing and able to come together to support one another in their most vulnerable moments.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have no idea how vulnerable you are in those situations.
Right. Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. Maybe you do. I hope you don't have to go through it.
Well, and that's one of the things about caregiving and death and dying, and why HELP is so important, is that it's such a universal thing that we all have, or we're going to experience at some point in our lives.
Yeah. There is one thing,
Yes.
thinking back, I don't know if I can add this now.
Yes.
Shortly after I lost my first wife, a lady that she worked with gave me a book called How to Go On Living After Someone You Love Dies. I forget the author's name. However, she gave it to me, and I started going through it, and there were things like how to continue and work, what about your finances in the future, how to deal with children, how to let children know that mommy or daddy or grandma, grandpa isn't coming back. Repartnering. A lot of the chapters, frankly, did not apply to my situation, but a lot of them did. And there was some excellent information in there. Just sort of personal how to go on. I read it. Shortly after that, I went to the funeral of a naval officer in Montreal. And I had the book on the bus on the way there, and I was finishing up the parts that I thought were appropriate to me. After the funeral, there was a reception, and I approached the wife, and I said, my condolences and so forth. And I don't know why, but I just, by the way, I went through this, a short time ago, and somebody gave me a book. I found it really, really worthwhile. It's in the bus. Would you mind if I went and got it and gave it to you? She said, no, I'd like that. So I did that. Since then, I have probably bought the same book 7 or 8 times and given it to people in situations like I was. And they always appreciated it. And I like to think it gets passed on and passed on. And actually, we have one in our library now that got there about a month ago.
Yeah.
So people helping people, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's not a huge thing to do. That's just saying, this helped me. If it helps you, that's wonderful.
brilliantly stated. It's not a huge thing. It's not. It's easy.
Yeah.
But be out there, just be caring.
Yeah.
And helps that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Thank you, Gord.